Like, we're serious today. What have we got an attorney on or something? Did I miss something?
Oh yeah. I was trying to make sure I
Formal.
got out of my days, that I was in all day today in the fog brain. So I was hoping that would give me the knowledge that I need to pass this class for the next 2 hours. Based
We're
off.
gonna try to pass. We're gonna try to pass for the next couple of hours. Looking forward to hanging out with you guys. We're also, for all the people who have been asking, Lucas Panzica is reminding me we are on Zone TV now. So all of you who wanted to see and not just hear us, we are still located at our homes. Blaine has a nice Titans art gallery behind him. I still look like I'm in the witness protection program. I have nothing but a plain wall behind me, but we are on Zone TV now.
Yeah, well, you had your wall painted in your personal studio at your house, so that's why it looks that way. But about time you're about to get it all decorative, we'll be back in the studio. So
that's probably the way that's going to work. Yeah.
So hey man, it's nice, man, that you converted your attic and put some walls and sanded down, and I know you did it all yourself. So hey, I appreciate people who can do stuff like that, Mickey. I can't.
Oh yeah. I appreciate those people too, because I'm not one of them. If you can't do it with a YouTube video, then I can't do it. Now I will say this: I fixed a bunch of stuff I watch in YouTube videos, so I could be on the verge of complete disaster over here, fire hazards, you name it. But you can. Now I will say this: I got to find a motorcycle mechanic because I've got a dirt bike and I cannot fix the throttle on that thing to save my life. I got nothing, but I fixed a bunch of other stuff. So all with YouTube videos. So I'll just tell you. You get stumped, just Google whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's always a YouTube video, and away you go. Then you just do what they do.
Yeah. So all teenagers and you included, Lucas. So if you need to study for a test, just Google it. It'll have all the answers, because that's what it's become, and that's what made our whole society so much lazier. Because I'm right there with them. Yeah,
Blaine, I don't plan on studying for a test the rest of my life.
A test, interview, or anything, how to work the board there at the studio. I mean, you can get everything, just like me. I didn't watch the match, yesterday, the golf deal. So I just Googled Brady versus Aaron Rodgers match, and it just comes up on YouTube. And I feel like I watched the entire thing on a 15-minute, replay of what happened. In multiple 15, but still, I wasn't going to sit there and watch that from beginning to end like I'm watching a golf tournament. But it was exciting, and let alone the NBA finals, which is what I was watching. It was pretty cool. Naturally, I'm a fan of the NBA and and their athleticism, but to see CP3 win the first game is pretty cool. Great potential Hall of Fame guy, first ballot guy. And, to see him at least get a shot at winning a ring be pretty cool. And hopefully he comes away with it. That's why I'm really cheering for the Suns. Other than that, nothing else. So, yeah, kind of there,
I watched a little bit of the basketball. I watched a little bit of the golf match just because we were getting dinner ready and messing around. There wasn't anything else on. So I watched a teeny tiny bit of the golf match. I will say this: they were playing in Montana. It was amazing where they were playing.
Oh,
and
no,
there were no people around.
Yeah, they were like animals walking around. I saw a bear. It was something else. I was like, what the? But the views were exciting. Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers is a pretty good golfer. That's what I got out of what I saw. His putting game is on point, but even off the tee, he was really outstanding. I think they won by like 3 strokes, right?
Yeah.
And they were, man. Ooh. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, and he's still been deceptive and passive aggressive with all questions regarding the Green Bay Packers. He did not, nothing happened on Friday, so he will be a Packer this year. I think he'll eventually show up, enough time to make sure he's on point right before the first regular season game. And then after he has probably another great year, MVP year, they're going to trade him. They'll probably give him some, new 1-year contract or, up the contract he's got in this next year, and then adios amigos. Yeah. But you know, one thing that stands out because I remember about Aaron Rodgers, I love him as a player, but I remember draft day, he sat in the draft room a little bit and
Yeah.
and it shows how everybody goes by the measurables. If you saw him stand next to Tom Brady, he looks like the 6'1" guy that doesn't look too tall, or 6 feet maybe. And then Tom Brady looks like a freaking giant. He's like 6'5" or whatever he is. I mean, he looked tall compared to Aaron Rodgers, but nothing can compensate. Aaron Rodgers' arm is better than Tom Brady. They can say what they want to say. Aaron Rodgers is a better, I guess, technician of what he does at that position. But Tom Brady's the GOAT because of the championships. So yeah, it was actually phenomenal to watch those guys. But he's a better golfer. I wouldn't be shocked if he played golf when he's done. Guys won 3 MVPs. Would like to ask him, like, which MVP were you is better than the other? Yeah, like I mean, in his mind, when you're an MVP of any league that you're playing at the pro level, you say, well, this year was a little bit different in this, or the challenges that were involved in getting there. But when you see a guy throw the ball with neither feet on the ground and it's on point, it's pretty phenomenal. Only really my homies is and a lot younger is going to eclipse what his throwing game is all about in the National Football League. But it was cool to watch though, and then doing a lot of talking crap to each other. And Gronk gave him a called in there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Quit vacationing, Tom, out there on the golf course. I think Gronk's going to try to come back and be a little bit better than last year. I think he's a little motivated because he wasn't the Gronk of old. He was a good tight end, but he wasn't the dominant tight end that we're used to seeing. So I think he's going to be motivated to play better than last season. But yeah, that's still a cool event, man. You know what? It makes me think of does the match prove that more gaming on TV should be part of this process of this dynamic of sports being on TV? Because that was actually kind of cool to watch. Will other things happen like that? Will football players, baseball players, I mean, you name it in some form or fashion, maybe not with golf, but something else with all these creative, people out there in the industry to come up with something that's pretty cool to do like that because especially during this time when this is the downtime in sports, the month of July, going into July and until a couple more weeks. And you got SEC media days and college sports and football, and then the NFL to start. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much more we see of that. I kind of like that because when everybody was doing COVID, I mean, it's like, oh man, I'm tuning in and I watch from beginning to end. Well, right now it's yeah, I'm not tuning in from beginning to end, but it is fascinating to watch the translation from one sport, how it can transfer over to another sport. And those guys, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, look pretty good as golfers.
Well, this has been a series that it's turned into
Yes.
with the golf challenge. So it's been one, then another, then another. And
Is
here's
this
the
fourth
thing:
one?
I think
What is this? The third or fourth
this
one?
was the third one, I believe.
Third. Mm-hmm.
Everybody can bet on everything legally. In most places you can bet legally. So what I wouldn't be surprised, Blaine, is if like DraftKings or FanDuel said, "Here's what we're going to do. We're going to sponsor this competition between this guy, this athlete and this guy, and you just guarantee them, okay, here's what you can have. You can either have 5 million each, or you can have a percentage of the total purse, or you can have whatever you want." I wouldn't be surprised to see the gambling industries make up more of these events just because that gives more people something to bet on, especially in the summer.
Ooh, I think you're on to something. And that's going to raise up the intensity level and the crap talking and the seriousness, by the way.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
they were, it's all fun and games, they're doing the four square with them talking crap beforehand and then going into it and still having fun. Well, it's not fun until I get that big purse. Even though they have a lot of money, I tweeted out their total earnings of each one of those guys, not just as an athlete, but their total net worth is a totally different number, which Phil Nicholson blew them all out the water when he made like the third least amount, which I think was like 94 million or something. I think Tom Brady was number one with 260 something million, or whatever the number was. But the total number as far as net worth was Phil Mickelson with a landslide. I think Tom Brady was 250 million. But old Phil was over there at the 400 range. So yeah, those guys. Yeah, that's crazy. Let alone, I wonder if Tom Brady's is he a billionaire as far as him and his wife? They billionaires? They net
Well, the
worth.
thing about them has always been that she makes more than him from
Right.
being a supermodel.
Yeah.
So, gosh, between the two of them, they would have to be close to a billion, right? Wouldn't they? They'd have to.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think it's real close. They may be. I'm sure all our listeners know it's calling us ding dongs right now. But yeah.
I'm sure somebody is calling us a ding dong, no matter what.
Yeah, but that was cool. The NBA though, on the other side of this, the NBA, I think I'm gonna say this, and I never talk about this. I don't know what the heck the coach from Milwaukee Bucks was thinking. I'm serious now. I'm serious. Like, how are you a head coach? Like, all they did was the pick and roll, and they kept using Lopez and Portis in the pick and roll, and they were backpedaling, and then CP3 was just pulling up there for this little mid-range jump shot, which he loves. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is that? If anything, I would trap his butt and then make him throw it to somebody else. You're always trying to do something to eliminate the elite players to make them have to work and think and change up the defense per quarter, per half. I mean, the guy's a scientist out there as a point guard, and you're making it almost easy. I was like, oh, this is horrible. So he had a run in the third quarter where he got into a rhythm. I think he scored 16 points just in the third quarter. So I just didn't like seeing that. That's just coaching ding dong right there. I did not like that. That's coaching.
Yeah,
That's like
finished with 32.
Yeah, he 32. I mean, Booker was, did well, but Giannis, I was shocked. I had no idea he was going to play, and he looked decent. I mean, I was like, okay, well, he's gonna have to wear a brace. He got hyperextended knee. Nope. He was looking like the spider that he always looks. He just wasn't quite as aggressive, but he had a double-double, 20 and 17. I mean, he looked good. He just maybe wasn't as aggressive as he normally is. But for them to win some games, Holiday is going to have to pick up the pace. And I think it has to do with him kind of controlling the offense. And that's going to sound weird to say because they played better as a unit when Giannis was out. And they won both of those games. But when Giannis kind of takes over, it kind of slows the movement and everybody else moving around to create space. So Holiday's the guy to me. He's the X factor that for them to win this series. I'm picking the Suns, but he's got to be the guy. And he's capable as a defender, but let alone he's got to put up double digits. And I'm talking about more and impact the game. So yeah, it's gonna be a good one though. I'm cheering for the Suns though.
Yeah, Suns haven't even played a championship game since '93. That was their first game at home in the championship series since '93 when they lost to the Bulls when they had Charles Barkley and everybody on the team. They and the Bucks both became NBA League members in 1968. The Bucks last won it all in 1971 with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson. That's the last time they won.
That was his last year in the league, wasn't it? Or no, for Robinson. I don't remember.
If it wasn't, it was close. He may have lasted a little bit longer than that, but the Big O, the original triple-double guy. All right, speaking of the Big O and his triple-double, people might be making triple digits worth the money at some point soon as college athletes. We have a director of compliance who's set to join us from Trevecca, Desmond Pierce, at 1:30. So we're going to get some of an idea. They've got athletes who are already getting paid. What are they doing to help? How is this working? He's a former college athlete. He's a former college coach. Going to be a real interesting guest. But when we come back, I got a more pressing matter. It's a picture on Instagram of a hamburger, and the bun is made of macaroni and cheese. So I asked this question, would you eat this? And overwhelmingly, many of you saying yes. So on Blaine and Mickey, we put this question out. What's the wildest hamburger you've ever eaten? You got hamburger talk. You want to let us know what's going on. 615-737-1045. Would you eat the mac and cheese burger? Have you eaten something crazier? We want to hear from you next.
Do you breathe Titans football? Yeah, so do we. Your home for Titans football and the flagship for Titans radio. 104.5 The Zone.
A lot of employees really don't want to see you or talk to you, but they know they have to because their paycheck depends upon it. You can see it in their expression. It's like they can almost hear them say, here comes another problem, and that's putting it nicely. Ever been treated that way by an auto repair shop? Tired of getting the runaround only to get the runaround again? Well, come on over to Eurofix. Eurofix repairs everything European. And owner Aaron Stokes once said, being ignorant made me successful. And money, what he meant was, when you don't know any better, no idea what your competition is doing,
tickets to the Music City Grand Prix happening August 6th through 8th. This is like a festival of speed and sound and racing cars in the middle of downtown Nashville. My son is about to lose his mind with the idea of going to see Indy cars racing through the city of Nashville. So I look forward to being there, and you can look forward to being there. We're going to give away tickets soon. Also, Desmond Pierce set to join us in just a few minutes. He's the director of compliance. That's a hard job at any school. He does it for Trevecca's. They're navigating these NIL waters. They've already got multiple athletes who've gotten deals. So I look forward to talking to him. But let's get to this. So I'm perusing through Instagram, and if you don't know this about your phone, it's always listening to you. So like today, if you're talking to your spouse, your significant other, and you start saying, I got to get tires and I really need tires, and gosh, we need to schedule an appointment for me to get tires, your phone will start showing you pictures of tires. Whatever you talk about, it knows, and it's going to show that to you. Now, maybe I was talking about hamburgers or something, which wouldn't surprise me because I do love hamburgers. But on my phone on Instagram, I get an ad today about a hamburger, and the bun is made out of macaroni and cheese patties. So it's not bread. It's 2 molded, deep-fried chunks of macaroni and cheese. So I copied the picture, and I just started asking, would any of you guys eat this stuff? Would you eat this hamburger? And the responses have been absolutely amazing, with most of them leaning towards yes, with multiple hell yes, 3 yeses, only if it's served with an angioplasty, says Brace on Twitter. Now, Travis has an interesting take on this. It depends on who made the mac and cheese. All are not created equal. But here's the thing. Like the grandma mac and cheese that we all like, I don't think you could fry that. It's going to have to be made in a certain way to be prepared in a certain way. So I don't think you could cook like your grandma's after church on Sunday dinner on the grounds mac and cheese into these patties. I don't think you could do that. Matthew says there's a place called Zombie Burger in Des Moines that serves one of these already. He said it's surprisingly good. But most people, strong yeses on this. So that got me basically to asking the question, what's the craziest thing you've ever eaten on a hamburger? Now, I'll say this, Blaine, I don't remember where I did it, but I ate the hamburger once where the bun was a donut. So they cut a donut in half and put a hamburger in between, and I ate that, and it was good.
Ooh, I bet it was good because that got some sugar in there. Ooh, sugar on a burger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That sounds yummy to the tummy. Hey, this may sound boring, but all I've had is like a lettuce burger. I haven't had anything out of that. You're laughing, but the lettuce was the actual bun.
I know. You're being healthy. Every day you like hold up a smoothie at me or something, and I know that I just ate a Hostess fruit pie. So,
well, but
killing me.
I go all in on good tasting food. I do on the weekend, so I'm deserting up and everything. So I'm trying to be good for 5 days, and then 2 days go all in. So yeah, I love donuts and everything else. I'd love to try that donut one though. Yeah. So that's kind of I haven't tried anything crazy on a burger yet, but that sounds pretty good.
Buck tweeted
you got a lot of reaction on this too, right? This.
Well, yeah, mostly yeses from people saying absolutely, and people say, where can I get one? Buck responded to, or not our Buck, but who? Another Buck.
Oh, okay.
Buck. Well, it involves Bama and the F word, but he's changed the letters to the first, so it's Buck Fama on Twitter for people who are following along. This was his response to Blaine and Mickey. He said, I've never eaten anything too crazy, but the Nash Vegas burger at ML Rose has pimento cheese and barbecue sauce, and it's delicious.
Oh, yeah. See, I've been there a handful of times. I have not had that, though.
I will say this about pimento cheese. That goes back to what somebody tweeted and said it depends on the mac and cheese. See, I think with mac and cheese, it's got to be some kind of way so it will form the patty and get fried together.
Consistency.
It has to have more. Yes. But as far as pimento cheese, I don't like most pimento cheese. Some I do, but like 1 out of 5 pimento cheeses that I would try. So I don't know if I would like that.
Oh no, I'm cool with pimento cheese, but yeah, Rose. I've had an egg on a lot of people had an egg probably on over easy on a burger.
That's pretty good.
That wasn't the bun though. But yeah. No, Rose is pretty good though. They got some pretty good food there. They'll mix it up. You gotta try some of that old mixture.
Yeah, have you ever had peanut butter on a burger?
Peanut butter on a burger? No. You?
Yeah.
That was well, but man, well, how did that taste?
Peanut butter and jelly.
Uh-oh.
Not and bacon.
Like something I would do.
And bacon. And it was not horrible. Now I didn't get like lettuce and tomatoes or anything on there, but it was a cheeseburger with bacon and peanut butter and jelly. So it didn't have ketchup or mayonnaise or anything like that. It was peanut butter, grape jelly, bacon, and a cheeseburger. And I was somewhere at a restaurant. It was just a place where I'm like, I don't really, but they had like one hamburger on the menu and that was it. I said, I'll just get this. Yeah. It was pretty darn good.
I think I would like it, especially with the jelly. I'm a big bacon burger guy, so I like that. I think I would like the jelly. I don't know how that's where I'm talking about the peanut butter. How did that thickness to it with the jelly on there? I want when my burger, bacon, and the jelly sounds right, but not the peanut butter. I'm gonna have to try that.
The peanut butter made it actually.
Did it?
I'm telling you, I don't know what it is, but there's like a Thai peanut salad where it has the peanut dressing and the peanuts. There are different things that you can have with peanuts that you think this looks terrible, but then it's good. The hamburger with peanut butter on it is good. Now, I don't know if they're going to have any hamburgers with peanut butter at the Music City Grand Prix, but they're going to have racing and they're going to have concerts and they're going to have all kinds of stuff. I'm telling you, 5 concerts, 4 races over 3 days. Alan Jackson, Brooks and Dunn, just all kinds of fantastic shows. And oh, by the way, racing through the streets of Nashville. So caller 5 right now, part of the Zone Summer of Fun is about to have some fun. Your chance to win a pair of single-day tickets to the inaugural Big Machine Music City Grand Prix that's happening August 6th through 8 in downtown Nashville. Caller 5 gets it now, 615-737-1045. We also leave the hamburgers behind to talk to Desmond Pierce, the director of compliance for Trevecca. Desmond, what's the craziest thing you've ever had on a hamburger? Let's just start there.
Yeah.
The craziest thing I've ever had on a hamburger?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just tomatoes and cheese.
I've had guacamole on it before, and I thought that was pretty crazy, in my opinion.
Oh,
all right. We got to get you out to some crazier stuff, Desmond. That's moderately crazy. All right. All right. So you went to ETSU. You were an athlete. You've been a coach. You're working as the director of compliance now for Trevecca. We all know about Trevecca right there in downtown Nashville. We had some fun with this the other day. We asked this question on our show Twitter account and got hundreds of responses from all over the world. So we'll ask you, a former student athlete who now works for student athletes, what would you have endorsed while running track at ETSU?
You know what, to be honest with you, I take pride in being a cross-country and track and field athlete. We're usually deemed some of the weirdest athletes on campus. So I would really enjoy this process. I'm excited for our student athletes, but for myself, I would find probably the weirdest running brand / short shorts company out there and probably try to endorse them, because I think it would be awesome to have, some funky short shorts running around campus with and getting paid for it at the same time. So I would probably go that route into some type of running gear or running attire and trying to find the craziest company out there to get them.
Oh man, and shorts are in just like they probably were in when you were back in your day. Yeah, you got to show the thigh, man. That's all. That's just like bell bottom pants are all coming back and everything else. That's pretty cool.
Director of Compliance for Trevecca University, Desmond Pierce, our guest here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Desmond, man, this is kind of interesting with the NIL and everything else after the first week. What is your assessment just generally overall at all, all these schools going on with what's going on with the NIL? Is it what you thought it would be, or is it a little overhyped, or is it, a little minimum and only so few guys are going to be able to make a whole lot of money that's going to make a little bit of difference?
Yeah, to be honest, this was introduced to me. I've only been in Trevecca for 2 years. So when I first got here and got into compliance, it was brought up in one of our meetings, I want to say in October of 2019, that the NCAA would be voting on it at the convention in 2020 of January. So I was like, this probably isn't going to happen. I don't see it. But as it started getting closer and closer, it's here now. And so, I thought it was pretty hyped up at the beginning before it got here. But now I think, the floodgates are open. I'm pretty impressed of, what student athletes are doing. These kids are smart. These young adults, are smart, and they're using social media in a completely different way than I used it back in 2014. So I think that a lot of people that I've talked to in Division II really didn't think that it was going to be this big of a deal for Division II athletes. But for us at Trevecca, being in Nashville, and we have so many talented student athletes and in different things outside of their sport, there's so much opportunity here. So just for our conference, for the GMAC, there's schools in different cities, and then we look at Nashville and we're like, whoa, there's so many different things that people can do here. So like, this is going to be on a little bit different. It's going to be on a different level for Trevecca. So for me, as this was going along, and I'm talking with Greg Ruff, I'm talking with Mark Elliott, our athletic director, and we're saying, hey, how big is this going to be? I'm like, guys, this is probably going to be pretty big, because I started asking our student athletes, what do you want to do? Do you think you'll do this? And I had almost, at least at that time, 50 athletes telling me what they thought they were going to do before July 1st. So now that it's here, let's say that number is almost double of just the opportunities that people are getting. So me personally at Trevecca, I think it's a pretty big deal. I think that it's a lot more than we thought it was going to be as an entire athletic department, and probably even as a university. But I think there's a lot of upside in this for everybody, for the student athletes and for us. So I'm excited about it overall. I'm a little bit stressed about it too, to be honest with you. Pray for me. But I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah, we're on with Desmond Pierce, the compliance director for Trevecca. I guess, what's some of the ways you think kids are going to get creative with, this new rule with the NIL to get paid? I mean, whether it's $25 to, some people with six figures over a long period of, time, or maybe even millions, as we've seen with a handful of people.
Yeah, I think some of the things I've been seeing are just, these student athletes are definitely not scared to voice their opinion and let people know what they want. So I've seen a lot of people take their approach of just going out there and just being vocal and be like, hey, July 1st is after that. I'm open to do this, and that, to do this brand or do that brand. So I think that's one thing that's different too. They're just not scared of the opportunity. They're not scared of the moment. And on the backside of that, that's where we come in compliance. We want to educate them on what they're doing and the companies that they're working for, and make sure that they're paying their taxes and they're doing everything that's NCAA compliant. But kids are getting creative. I've seen TikTok videos. I've seen Instagram polls. I have seen Instagram live videos of people trying to get promotions. I mean, I just think this generation is fearless, and they're going to do whatever it takes to get something. And there's new companies out there. There's a company called GoPuff that I've never even heard of, that there's hundreds of student athletes that are signing with them, promoting energy drinks and promoting different things like that. So I think just for them just to be available is just the first step that they're not scared to do. And it's not really creative, but it's just like a lot of people just don't want to be available. But these student athletes are fearless. So like, hey, if it's $10, I'll do it. If it's $20, I'll do it. They're really not scared of the opportunity. So, but there's some other things that people are doing too that already have that interaction with people on social media, so they can do different things. But I think it's just pretty basic right now. Just put your name out there and see if anyone bites on it. So we've had some success with some of our student athletes so far doing that.
What would be some of the things you want to educate the kids? And you touched on a little bit, talking about making sure your tax and everything else. But on the fraud side, because they're going to now get inundated with things that they're being that they're still young adults that they haven't confronted. What would be some of the things you would want to educate them on about that?
Yeah, I think first, a huge thing that we're working on Trevecca Athletics is partnering with someone. I don't know if you've heard of Open Doors. There's some other companies out there through IMG that are doing some pretty big partnerships with some universities. And there's not a lot of Division II schools that are partnering with these companies, but I think just for us being in Nashville, we're going to have to make that decision to partner with a company who has been building this platform since 2012. There's been companies out there that's been waiting for this moment. So they have all of this data, all of this research on just the education piece and that brand marketing piece, that identity piece that, I'm not an expert in that. So I think just giving that the student athletes the education on just one, how do you build your brand? How do you do it safely? How do you do it to line up with Trevecca and what we stand for with the Nazarene Church? So there's a lot of different things that go into play, but I think that if we give them that education and let them know what companies to look for, what companies to avoid, it's we can go on for days about that. But I think with an open door or with the IMG, they'll be able to give us that education that we might not be able to provide our student athletes. So it's all streamlined through an app. They'll learn the business side of it. They'll learn the brand side of it. They'll also get the Trevecca piece of it, and then they'll pretty much get all sides of it to where all we have to do is monitor it. That's my dream. That's my outlook, as a compliance guy. That's what I want to see. But, people are doing different things to educate their student athletes, but that's what I think will be best for us.
Well, with Desmond Pierce, compliance director for Trevecca, giving us some good stuff.
Desmond, what do you say to the person who says, okay, well, this just means the rich schools are only going to get richer, so everybody's just going to keep going to the biggest schools? My response to a lot of them has been, well, the rich schools are already rich. They already get lots of 5 stars and all that kind of stuff. To me, this might actually level the playing field a little bit, because if you could go somewhere and get the number 1 best endorsements in whatever town that is, or you could go somewhere else and maybe get the 12th best endorsement or 17th best endorsement on the team, this might actually lead people to go to some different places.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think this definitely levels the playing field. This, I believe, will make Trevecca and other Division II schools in big cities very attractive because there's so much opportunity here. I've had athletes reach out to me like, hey, I want to go to Baja Burrito. I want to get a T-shirt and tell them to pay me $20 so I can go online and hashtag Baja Burrito. I mean, why not? There's so many places in Nashville, so many different restaurants, so many different little niche market stuff that they can do. I mean, why not? So I think it's definitely a recruiting tool that we can use to better Trevecca, to better the student athletes. It's a win-win for me. I think that when you give them the education piece of it too, and to make sure that they are compliant and that they're doing everything that they need to do, why not go to a smaller school and get that opportunity? Especially if you're going to go to a Division I school and not get as much shine of your $25 might not mean nothing if someone is making 6 figures. When you're comparing it like that on your own campus, I think it's pretty tough. But at Trevecca, I feel like we're all going to be getting the same opportunities for the most part. So I think it will create a pretty healthy environment.
Well, you've already got some young men and women who are taking advantage of this, including a soccer player with Rick and Bubba, right? An endorsement from Rick and Bubba, the old radio guys.
Yeah. I mean, I saw that on social media, and Rick and Bubba probably has, I think, 30,000 or so followers on their Instagram, and she gets to sign that deal and get her name out there a little bit, which I think can open the door for some other stuff. So we've had a couple other athletes that are working on some stuff and have already signed some deals. And we had this meeting last year, and I laughed because they're like, we're not going to deal with that as much as we think we are at Trevecca. But I'm like, guys, if you look around at just Nashville, just where we are at, I mean, how do you think we're not going to deal with this? And now it's here. We've only been in it for a week, and we already have a few athletes who are taking advantage of it. So I think, with the young lady in soccer and we have the young man in men's basketball, they're just going to set that standard of like, hey, we can do this at Trevecca. So I think more people are going to jump on board and realize that they can be successful doing it. Even if it is $100 or $25, whatever it is, it's more than what they had before. So I don't see why they wouldn't want to do it.
Well, Desmond, thank you, man. Thank you for the time again. Desmond Pierce, Director of Compliance at Trevecca University. So if maybe that's where you wind up continuing your athletic career, this would be one of the guys that you're working with over there as they navigate these NIL waters. Thank you for the time today, man. We'll catch up again soon.
Appreciate it,
Yes,
Desmond.
I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Yes, sir. Desmond Pierce, Director of Compliance for Trevecca. Hey, man, everybody's having to figure this out. It's interesting to hear from some guy who was in a room and literally trying to figure out how to manage this. But we're a week into it now, as he said, and it just continues to be interesting to see how it develops each day. All right, we got to develop this final segment of the hour one of Blaine and Mickey today. Zach Bingham of AtoZ Sports is going to join us in hour two. I just saw this, though, right as we were getting ready to do the show. Some really high praise for Big Jeff Simmons. Really big praise. I'll share that next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
More Titans opinion and analysis than anyone else. The 3HL with Brent Doherty, Don Davenport, and Ron Slay. This afternoon starting at 3, 104.5 The Zone.
All right, there's nothing more exciting than baseball. I'm a big baseball guy. I was watching baseball just last night, and I was having a good time because we all have that dream, right? You get up at the bottom of the ninth and the bases are loaded and you take the big swing. Well, FanDuel Sportsbook is going to let you take that big swing at baseball. And here's the thing. If you come up a little short, you're going to get another chance because FanDuel Sportsbook is going to let you place your first bet risk-free. You want to bet on a baseball game? That's right. New users get up to $1,000 back in site credit if your first bet doesn't win. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. The app is simple. It's easy to use. There are always great promos like this you'll only find on FanDuel Sportsbook. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, sign up with the promo code Mickey, get in on the action, and take your swing. Got to be 21 or older, present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only for risk, rebet, refund issues. Non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. If you've got a gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Mom, Oliver's doing the thing again. How does he get his leg up that far? And if you're not careful, those fleas and ticks just might jump from the dog. Mom, I got the itches. Right over to your little brother's.
As a third-generation pest control company owner, but even more as the mom of 3 boys and 1 silly puppy, you can trust me when I tell you, Tennessee ticks are nothing to mess with. So before fleas and ticks get you, your pet, or your little brothers,
Mom, I can't get my leg up that high.
the second best time to take care of fleas and ticks is after you see them.
The best time is before those bugging buggers even show up.
Before they show up, invite our family to show up.
All American Pest Control. We love us a yuck bug-free Tennessee.
Call our family at All American Pest Control today
And foil those frustrating fleas.
or just visit our website.
Yuckbugs.com.
McGregor versus Poirier 3 is all set for UFC 264. And DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC, has a knockout offer for this weekend's fight. DraftKings is offering 264-1 odds on a knockout in the first round during Saturday's main event. If the rubber match ends in a first round knockout, you walk away with cash. That's right. Bet $1 on McGregor or Poirier to win by first round knockout. You win $264. Put your MMA knowledge to the test and put your money where your mouth is with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code WGFX when you sign up to turn $1 into $264. That's code WGFX only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
If you could buy a Saturday
to do whatever you want.
how much would it be worth to you?
1-800-GOT-JUNK can sell you 2 free Saturdays a year.
Give us a call and we'll bring them right over.
The average family spends 2 Saturdays a year.
Wrestling with junk we could easily make disappear.
We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
And all at once,
In the twinkling of an eye.
your house is clean and shiny.
But don't look in the sky for 8 flying reindeer.
And a jolly old elf in a red and white suit.
We're the people in the clean, shiny truck.
That big blue one coming down your street right now.
And we sell free Saturdays, 52 weeks a year.
The junk that would take you hours to haul away,
Will be gone in a matter of minutes. Give us a call.
and we'll sell you a Saturday.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
With this red hot real estate market right now, one of the most important decisions you're ever going to make is who to trust when it's time to sell your home. Hey, this is Dawn Davenport from 3HL, and if you're ready to take advantage of this market, Mark Spain Real Estate is the most trusted real estate team in the U.S. This is crazy. They've earned over 5,000 5-star reviews, and their guaranteed offer makes selling your home easy and stress-free. No showings, no open houses, no stress at all. You don't have to worry about the hassle of constant cleaning, and you don't have to make costly repairs. Sell your home hassle-free with the strongest cash offer in the industry. The Wall Street Journal ranks Mark Spain Real Estate the #1 real estate team in the U.S. for closed transactions for the 4th year in a row. They know what matters most. That's a quick sale, maximum profit. No showings, no open houses, no stress. It's that simple. Find out what Mark Spain's guaranteed offer would be on your home. No obligation. Go to markspain.com today, 855-299-SOLD, markspain.com, and start packing.
Farm Bureau Health Plans reminds you to listen to 104.5 The Zone all week during the 2021 Titans season. To hear Titans Radio's Mike Keith and Coach Dave McGinnis giving their unique insight on your Tennessee Titans. It's all presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans on 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. It's the season of lists in football. It's the season of lists. It's funny, we had Coach Mack on Tuesday yesterday. It's only Wednesday, so Tuesday, and we were asking him about one of these players or something about a player not getting, and he goes, well, guys, it's the season of lists. So everybody knows about the season of lists. It's just another one of the many football seasons that we get to experience besides the one on the field. Saw this recently, Big Jeff and A.J. Brown, both on the NFL.com all under 25 team. And I thought, boy, if you're the Titans, you really need one of your cornerbacks, your really young cornerbacks, to play his way on that rascal for next year. But A.J. and Big Jeff on there. Then I saw this today. Jeremy Fowler, who's an NFL reporter, is doing essentially the top players at every position, and he's counting them down as we go. And it's been interesting. He started on the defensive side of the ball. So top 10 players at 11 different positions. Another one of these season of list things. Well, they're doing defensive linemen. So I think the easiest person to put at #1 at any position is Aaron Donald. Besides,
we're talking about D tackles, actually,
yeah,
right?
Yes, yeah. D tackles. They're saying defensive linemen, but yes, what we would call a D tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Derrick Henry to me, but with running back, you could always say, well, I want a guy who catches some passes. So that's not really been Derrick Henry. I'm going to go Kamara. I'm going to go McCaffrey. But when it comes to defensive tackles, just pencil Aaron Donald in, right?
Yeah,
isn't he the easiest guy to pick at #1 at his position in the NFL? And Blaine, this has been this way for years for this dude.
From the beginning. Yeah, remember, he was too short, though. Mm-hmm.
No,
he was too short. He still went first round, but that was the stick. Oh, he a little too short because he's like barely 6'1", maybe. I don't even know if I think he may be 6 feet. Well, they can't stop him. I know that. They have to double and triple team him.
And he's 30 years old. And he's still doing it. Used to at 30 years old, it'd be like, I don't know. And with receivers, with running backs, with running backs, you get a few years in the league. You don't even have to get to 30 before people are worried about you falling off a cliff. But this guy shows no sign of letting up Aaron Donald. He's #1.
Yeah. If he stays healthy, he'll continue on. D linemen can go a ways if they stay healthy, stay in shape. If you watch his insane videos on Instagram, I remember I watched a whole bunch of them last year, and I could not believe this guy. I was just like in awe, and I would go, well, that explains it all. Why he's great. He's continually trying to improve. He's doing, D lineman camp with our man Chuck Smith, teaching you how to rush in his counter. It was just like, wow. This guy is all in his craft. There's no question about it. But his workouts were, when I see him work out and I see his feet, I think, dang, that dude, does he play linebacker? He is that quick and mobile.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my gosh. No wonder some of these big slugs can't block me. Hey, man, that guy moved a little too quick in that short space. Like, wow. Mm-hmm. He's impressive. Yeah, MVP, defensive MVP. Some people used to say he was the best player in the league.
The whole league, yeah.
In the whole league, over quarterbacks and everything.
Yep.
Like, wow. So he may have come back to the pack, and now he's just, #1 defensive tackle. Probably still in the top players, if he was doing a fantasy draft.
Boy, he's the man, that's for sure. Chris Jones of Kansas City, #2. DeForest Buckner with the Colts, who's just a mountain of a human being. Mm-hmm. And an unbelievably great player in the middle of their defense. Cam Hayward of the Steelers is #4. I know that's a guy you talk about a lot, his ability to wreak havoc and how much better he makes the guys around him. Fletcher Cox of the Eagles checks in at #5. But here's #6. It's Jeffrey Simmons of the Tennessee Titans.
Oh.
This is a quote. It says, no one is Aaron Donald, but he might be the closest. That's a quote from an NFL general manager. Then it says, out of another NFL exec, he's the one everyone knows is coming. Talent-wise, he's probably top 3. He's respected as such, at least how we block him. He was double-teamed on 190 pass rush snaps last year, higher than every interior rusher besides Donald and Grady Jarrett. And he led all players in top 10 interior linemen run stop wins at 39.8%. And the last thing somebody says about him is he's got a really high upside. He just does different stuff and was basically playing on one leg, and he was pretty good early on. So people around the league respect the heck out of this guy. I look forward to seeing what the evolution of Big Jeff will be.
They said he was playing on one leg. Last year was his second year, so I don't know if that kind of phrase is true. What I can say, and I watched him closely, and I hate when everybody's putting these high expectations on this kid, and he's not quite there yet. Now, does he have the athletic ability? Yes. And does he have the mindset? But I don't think he was prepared last year, even though he was healthy, to get double team all the time.
Yeah.
And because that's why he wasn't impacting the game as a pass rusher. And that's still the next step for me. I'm watching this kid, and I'm hoping he's going to be everything that they say is, but he's not there yet. Now, as far as the run game, oh, absolutely, he's arrived. And they double team, he's still getting off some of those blocks. But I still want to see him get after the quarterback. And, you know, in his first interview this offseason, he talked about how he kind of reconfigured his body and was watching what he was eating. He said, it's not a diet. I'm just not eating, you know, bad foods that, you know, can't help me and be fuel for my body. So let's see what he looks like. And hopefully he's working on some of those pass rush moves when he gets those opportunities. Because once he does that, then, and on a consistent basis, I think then he'll be ready. But he wasn't, they were double teaming him a lot last year. And I don't think he was really ready, to be honest. I didn't think he expected that. I thought he said, oh, I'm going to go, I'm healthy. I'm going to get my one-on-ones and I'm going to win every time. Well, they wasn't letting that happen. He's too good. He's just too talented. So let's see if he can turn the corner there and then impact the game, not only in the run game, but the passing game. Sometimes you never get to that as a player of his statures for whatever reason. So maybe he doesn't have the long arms. You could say, well, Aaron Donald doesn't either. Maybe he doesn't have the quickness that Aaron Donald has to kind of, you know, not compare him to be that great, because I don't think he'll be that. I think he'll be a Pro Bowl type player, but to be elite where he's a dominant force. I mean, they're talking as though he's going to be the next Reggie White. I you know, his talent tells you that, but until you start like actually seeing him make those kind of plays consistently, even when they're doubling you, well, I then tip my cap to him, because I want him to be that, but I thought he was going to take that step last year, and he didn't. So I'm interested to see how he looks this year. Maybe the moving of the weight, he's quicker, more confident in his knee, maybe. But I'm hoping he is that guy, because they say he would have been a top 5 pick. You know, and he was a top 15. I think he's played up to the level of 15. Top 5 means I'm unstoppable pretty much all day. Right. And there are flashes, and you see them. You go, okay, well, where is that all game? Is it conditioning? Is it just that they double him and he gets exhausted? Is it because he's not getting, you know, doing the pass rush moves that take you to the next level? It's more than just being big and strong and I'm a bull rush you. Well, you can't bull rush everybody because they grown men too. Bobby could do that in college. So you're going to have some counter moves to the counter moves. So I'm hoping that happens, because everybody's putting him up there before he's even there and putting that pressure on him. And I know he has the talent, but that doesn't always come together sooner than you think. And it may take him another year. I don't know. I hope if he is dominant like that, and now that they have Autry and Bud Dupree, and now he's getting one-on-ones, then we may start seeing some of that, because now he's one-on-one.
Yep.
You know, and Landry on the other side. So I'm hoping that's what happens, because if he's doing one-on-one all game, I think I put my odds on Mr. Simmons.
Yeah, I'm ready to see what he can do this year for sure. Yeah, he said he'd done everything, but he would not go vegan. He drew the line.
Yeah,
He
he
said
did.
it's straight plants. No straight plants for us either. One more hour of this show for today. Zach Bingham of AtoZ Sports will join us in about 20 minutes. Headlines next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
When you need to know all the info faster, check out the Zone Daily Podcast with Will Bowling. Available on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and the entire Zone Podcast Network.
Always interesting when somebody buys a new home or guys. Normally we do this. I mean, we just hit you full on with headlines and we're just filling your brain with sports. But here's the thing. When you call, we go to you. And it sounds like we got a lady on the line, Gloria, and she's just not happy with something that's been said on this show. So, Gloria, we're just going to go ahead. We're going to turn it over to you, 615-737-1045. Gloria, what in the world is going on?
Well, I need first to say that I miss seeing Blaine on the field because I really liked him. When he played, he and Palomalu always were good to watch. But anyway, Blaine has blasphemed in the state of Tennessee. Because there's nobody that deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as Reggie White. So he needs to work on that. Dang.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't mean it any harm, but yeah, sorry about that. You got offended about Reggie White. I know him and the late, great Reggie White and his family, but I was just trying to give a comparison of what people are expecting out of Simmons. And I just think I'm not a real big guy on count the horse before it happens, and I haven't seen it consistent enough, really, as a pass rusher. So I'll try to maybe not use someone who has passed. It was a friend of mine as well.
Well, I know you had the utmost in respect for that guy. So anytime you would speak about him or anybody that you played against, you had the utmost respect for everybody who played the game at the highest level. And my goodness, that gentleman played the game at the highest level. I mean, the good Lord didn't make many people like Reggie White. That's for sure.
Yeah, I guess I can't compare statistically the late great McNair to Tannehill either. I guess.
I think you can. I think you're okay doing that. I think you're okay doing it, especially guys that you played with, guys that you played against. Absolutely. I've known you a long time, and nobody has more respect for people who play the game than you do. And I hear the way you talk about guys who maybe didn't even play the game as well as you did, and you give them their respect, and you give them their props as well. And that's never been a problem with Blaine Bishop. And if you don't know, maybe you just moved to Nashville a couple of years ago, and you're like, okay, this guy Blaine, he's on the radio. Well, Blaine played 10 years in the league and was multiple times All-Pro, was multiple times Pro Bowl, and was part of a Super Bowl team that everything that happened since still gets compared to what Blaine and his teammates did. And when you hear Blaine talk about those teams, Blaine never mentions Blaine. He mentions everybody else. But when those guys talk about the team, guess who they talk about? They talk about Blaine. Right. So,
Andy and McNair and Javon.
Well, and they talk about you though, and the living legend Bruce Matthews. What's crazy is we start talking about those Oiler teams that came here with the Tennessee Oilers and then the Tennessee Titans. And you say we had lunch pail guys, we had hardworking guys, and maybe not a bunch of Hall of Famers, but we had guys who were very good and who knew their roles and played together as a team. I've done, and I always reference this. Everything that you and Dyson say on the Titans pre and post game show, I listen to. I listen to what you guys say because you guys obviously know what you're talking about. And you've talked about in the past, if you'll just do your job, just do your job. Don't try to do too much. Don't take the cheese. Don't go for the interception. Just play your role. To me, that was what was great about your teams. Everybody played their role. And because everybody played their role, the team was great.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, we want to talk about that a little quick, and a lot of it has to do with the coaches in recognizing those players' roles and then you embracing it and being the best player in that role. And now that sounds real easy. Well, everybody came to the team as they was the best player everywhere they were.
Right.
And then you get on the team and you got to, stand in line and do your part and do your job. If your job is to be contained, then stay outside. Don't take the cheese and go inside and as you mentioned, and then try to get back outside. Next thing you know, the guy's running around the corner. I've never seen that. Boy, you talking about I would have got in there, you know what? If I was out there, I'm like, hey, man, because I'm coming like a bat out of you know what down this alley. Yeah, and I'm coming there with an attitude down this alley. And I may run up your back and break your ribs if you jump in my gap.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about responsibility. So, it was fun. We had a great little run there. And now I'm hoping that the Tennessee Titans of today had that kind of run as they did last season. And this time take it all away and bring it home to Nashville and the Titans win a Super Bowl. That would be most excitement for me. That was man, you talking about boyhood dream was to make the National Football League. Once I got there, I said, I'm all in. My chips are all in. I'm trying to get that bowl. I'm trying to get that Super Bowl. There's not too many people could say, not only did you play in one, but you won one. So that just eats at me all the time. But yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes. And then some guys just been in the league 3 years, got like 2 or 3 Super Bowls. It's just crazy. And yeah, Lucas probably go off for the Titans, get him a Super Bowl. Yeah, I got one, man. I got one over you. Yeah.
That always leads to the question of this. And we've asked versions of this question before. Okay, if God brought you down and said, here's the deal. You can play 5 years in the NFL and you'll be a journeyman, like special teams guy, 5-year career, or 1 year and you win the Super Bowl. You play 1 year and then you break your leg or something, or that's it, or you're not good enough. But for 1 year, you get to play and you get a Super Bowl. How many people would take the 1 year, the one Super Bowl, as opposed to having let's say 5 years, because that's a long career. 5 years is a long time. And before anybody tweets me or says that's crazy, the average career is less than 3 years.
Right.
So this is double that. So I wonder how many people would say, I'm going to take the 1 year and the ring and the immortality as opposed to the 5 years. Although, Blaine, as much as people make in the NFL now, the average salary is like 4 times what it was when you got there. So some guys might be like, I'll take the few million I'd make in 5 years. I'm good.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I was leaning towards, I don't know, I think I might have wanted the money if I'm going to go be a journeyman, longer. But yeah, with the money they're making now, definitely the 1 year in the ring and walk away. You still got your body in one piece. I think would be the route I would go. But some of those super talented players, that are just God gift to athleticism, and that's what Simmons is in his world. He is that, and sometimes you never equal that to the player you should be. And here's a good example, since people call in, and I don't want to say anyone's name. Let's use basketball an example. You know how many times after Michael Jordan won the MVP and all those championships, they would come in and say, oh, this guy's the next Michael Jordan. This guy's the next Michael Jordan. There is going to be no next Michael Jordan, because he equaled his talent with his work ethic and trying to be the best player he could be. Yeah. Some people only going to go half that way, and they don't know how to push through there. And that's to get the most out of your talent. That's why I was saying that in a nice way about Simmons. I don't know if he can push himself to that. I would think that he is. He talks as though he's that kind of guy, that he's a worker, but that doesn't mean he's going to reach the potential of his athleticism, because he's an elite athlete for his position. But that doesn't mean, watch this. Henry Ford was an elite athlete. Did he reach his athletic ability to his talents and his ability to play in a game? No. See. So, but someone who did, we could talk about late great Josh Evans. He surpassed it. He surpassed that. There was no way he was supposed to be that freaking good, but he was. So you just don't know what will happen to a player, and he may be the same player he is today come 4 years from now. That doesn't mean he's still not a really good player. He just wasn't a dominant defensive MVP caliber type player. And those are dime a dozen, man. Those are hard to come by. I mean, we're talking about Aaron Donald, and I know he's on the list, and he should be on that list. But there's a gap between every guy when you go up that list. It's a minuscule of a gap, but then all of a sudden you get to the top. All of a sudden you look at number 5 and go, there's a gap between Aaron Donald and Simmons. Yeah. To be on the list is an honor. I'm not. Yeah. Hey man, hey, there's a list. Hey, Roddy Lott used to be up there. Now some of the guys kind of tweaked up and moved up there, whether it was Brian Dawkins, Ed Reed, Palomar, whoever. But in my eyes, Roddy Lott's always going to be that guy. Yeah. I mean, he did it at corner and safety.
Him and Rod Woodson both. Yeah.
And don't forget about Rod Woodson.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, he did it at both. I'm like, whoa, hey, I better pump those brakes. Deion might have been the best corner, but we talking about, guys who transformed their careers from corner then to safety. Ooh, It's a couple guys on the list that people forget about. So that's all I was trying to say about Simmons. I wish him the best, and I want him to be great. And I think he wants to be great, but that doesn't mean he's going to reach it. Doesn't mean he's going to reach that kind of level where everybody's coming into the game and saying, we got to double team this dude every play and pray that we get him blocked. See, that's called unstoppable.
Yep.
Yeah. And see, to me, I think he got a dose of that last year, and he didn't realize, I'm getting double teamed, and this other 300-pound dude and this other 300-pound dude, which is like 600-pound dude, is now blocking me, and now I'm just holding the fort. I'm holding my ground. I ain't giving up ground, but he ain't making plays. He's letting other guys make the play. See? So that's still a really good player. But now, does he slip one of those guys when they double him? That's when you say, whoa, you watch the tape, you turn it on, you say, what's the guard that's really good for the Colts? He beats him on a double team. Then you start going, and I start doing it every time they double him against another elite guy. You go, wow, this guy is the next Aaron Donald. That's what you start saying.
I'm ready to see some of that. Wow.
Maybe they see it already, but watching them game in and game out, I did not see the pass rush ability that I thought he would probably get to. So maybe it's there, and maybe he'll get more one-on-one opportunities, and he'll showcase that.
We got to showcase Zach Bingham next. That's right. One of the AtoZ sports guys. He's the Z of AtoZ sports. Man, there's lots to discuss with him, and we will discuss it all next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
Buck. Well, he's never at peace.
I'm at peace with that. Really, I'm not. I'm pissed.
The Buck Rising Show. Tomorrow morning starting at 10 on 104.5 The Zone.
is a pretty cool place, but come on now.
I know. Well, I spent the 4th in Chicago. It was the first time I'd ever been to Chicago, and went to a Cubs-Phillies game on Monday night, and a night game too. It was a great experience. You get the baseball feels when you're at Wrigley Field, and I experienced that on Monday.
No doubt. Let's ask you this, because you were just in Chicago, third biggest city. Chicago's one of those places. They got everything up there. All the major sports. I mean, it's a huge place. We were talking about all the different things you got to do in your visit there. Blaine and I were talking, and we threw this question out on the show yesterday, because I know Lucas and his crew, they want the World Cup here. And Blaine and me want Major League Baseball here. And NASCAR fans want a race added to the fairgrounds. Zach, we want everything here. But as soon as all of us knucklehead sports people start talking about that, we get calls from native Nashvillians who say, enough is enough. I can't go downtown. I can't drive anywhere. Stop it. Stop asking for more stuff. So where are we as a city, Zach? Is Nashville ready for more stuff, or are we just can't hold any more sports? Where are we?
Well, definitely growing, right? So I'm born and raised in Nashville, so I've seen this city grow a good amount. And when I left for the 4th, 400,000 people came to Nashville, right?
Yeah, we traded you for 400,000,
right? But I look at baseball and I question: can you support all of those games, of the consistency of people going and attending all of those games? Because it is a lot of home games. Are you going to have the transplants? Are they going to get on board? Are the people visiting? Is it just going to be kind of a one and done? So I question that. I'm excited about the MLS soccer stadium. I think we've seen some progress on that front over the last several days. I think that is going to be a great experience. And NASCAR, we saw the races over the last couple of weeks as well. Nashville's definitely growing. I think the feel of the Titans winning is a positive thing. We've seen the Stanley Cup final here in Nashville a handful of years ago for the Nashville Predators. We need some more hotels. My whole thing is I would like a Super Bowl. I think that is, but you have to have a retractable roof, I would feel. And so that means a new stadium. I don't know if that is in the mix, but I want to see, if you have a stadium, and the Titans and the Nissan Stadium talk is always constantly going on, that opens up so much more. But right now, I don't know. You've got to figure out what you're going to do with that metal plant to the right or left of Nissan Stadium first. That's primo real estate. Something needs to go there instead of scrap metal.
I don't know.
Zach Bingham, Zach Bingham is not scrap metal at all. He joins us courtesy of our sister partners at AtoZ Sports, brothers, I should say, not sisters, here on Blaine and Mickey.
Yeah. I'm interested to see if they can build on that. If they did move it to another spot there, the metal plant there, I think that's kind of interesting with the dirt and everything else. Well, since we're talking about the Titans, there's been a lot of talk recently with the tight end and Delaney Walker wanting to get back into the league, and naturally we're going to always think of him as the great legend that he is. But right now he's a different spot in his career. Do you think his addition in a different role to the Titans would be something that, if you were the GM, you would consider in signing?
Unfortunately, I wouldn't. And Delaney Walker, I've always said this. I've covered the Titans for 10 plus years. Delaney is one of my favorite players to talk to. Him, Jarrell Casey was also an awesome guy. Derek Morgan. Those are the guys that stand out of those teams. Delaney's a great guy, but just unfortunately, I think that he had a career-ending ankle injury. I sum it up as that. I was talking to somebody when the news broke, and I saw Delaney, talk about how he wants to get back to where he was and contribute to a team. But I look at it for the Titans. Maybe another team takes a chance on Delaney Walker. And I know the Titans need tight end help. I don't know how Ferk has got to have some big shoulders this season at that position group. I just don't think Delaney Walker is the right guy for this team, because I question his ability. We all know the Tim Tebow experiment down in Jacksonville. We're figuring out how that's going to go. I just don't think that the Titans are going to take a chance on Delaney Walker after they parted ways a couple of years ago.
Man, well, speaking of chances, seems like Vegas doesn't think the Titans are going to be all that good. They got them with 9.5 wins. With the addition of Julio Jones, where do you think the Titans going to be? Are going to be, they're going to be good enough to take down the Colts and be a factor in the AFC? AFC is deep, by the way, and be Super Bowl contending team. Or are they going to be 9 wins may not get you in? Remember, it gets an extra game.
Yeah, well, the expectations are that they better be above 9.5. I mean, that they're maybe Vegas. I don't. Vegas is very, very smart. I will credit Vegas in their odds making.
Not all the time, right?
But I go on the knowledge of the division and the team. I think I have this team closer to 10 or 11. They're a playoff contending team now that they have Julio Jones, and John Robinson has done a phenomenal job this offseason. And I wouldn't have said that without Julio Jones, but now that he does have Julio Jones on his roster, I take what we know about the Titans more than the question marks about Carson Wentz. The Jags, they're in rebuilding mode. We know that. And they may make a little bit of waves. The Texans are awful. They're the worst team in the league. So it's a 2-horse race in the AFC South. I would rather take the known commodities of Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, and Derrick Henry, and a defense that all they have to do is be better than 28th in the league. You'd think they'd be able to do that. I would take that over a very solid roster in Indy, but a question mark in Carson Wentz, who's notorious for playing reckless and turning over the football at times.
Good stuff by Zach Bingham, AtoZ. I guess one more for me, and it's kind of outside the box. It's not really the Titans. I just want to get your thoughts on how would you make this decision, and that is, should Reggie Bush get his Heisman Trophy back? Go.
Ooh, I like this question, Blaine. That's a curveball right there. Should Reggie Bush get his high? I think the answer is no, because he was punished based on the rules then. The rules changed now, right? If I got a speeding ticket on the interstate when the speed limit was a certain, and then they changed it to 75, I can't go get that time, money, or effort back from that I've put into the law. So I know it is a complicated, complex situation with Reggie Bush and all the people that have gotten popped. I mean, I went to the Sugar Bowl between Ole Miss and Oklahoma State. I was there, but the NCAA says that didn't count because Hugh Freeze cheated. So you live based on the Fab Five happened. I know it did.
Right.
Okay? You can't tell me different. But in this situation,
Rick Pitino happened.
Right? In this situation, the punishment has already come down. I think Reggie Bush needs to move on with his life. He won the Heisman Trophy. He may not have the actual hardware, but everybody knows that Reggie Bush was a Heisman Trophy winner.
No doubt. You heard it here first from Zach Bingham. Heisman Trophy should stay at the Heisman and not at Reggie Bush's house. I'm with Zach Bingham with AtoZ Sports.
All right, you mentioned your time with Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss. I had some time with brother Hugh at Arkansas State myself. I know Coach Freeze well. But let's get into this year's Ole Miss team, and maybe this year's Tennessee team, and maybe this year's Vanderbilt team, because I wrote down some win totals. This is, I think, William Hill Sportsbook. These have been out for a few days now. But I'll ask you as an Ole Miss guy, 7.5 over under Ole Miss. How do you think that turns out as a win total over under? Do they hit it or do they stay under?
Ooh, it's more about everybody else. I think that Lane Kiffin is starting to build something special. How long he'll be at Ole Miss, I don't know. I hope for a longer time as an Ole Miss alum. But I think he's got Matt Corral back at quarterback, and that's key. And so I 7.5 is a tough number. Can they win 8? I think that's more up to what is LSU, what is Texas A&M. We all know what Alabama is going to be. But what is Auburn? What are those 3 teams? Because that decides where Ole Miss is if they're going to have that over under number. So it's more about the other teams in the West. Plus, Ole Miss plays Tennessee in Knoxville this year. That's a big game. And I know that means a lot to Tennessee fans with Lane Kiffin coming back to Knoxville. But can Josh Heupel, that could be an upsettable, winnable game for the Vols to kind of take advantage of a young, rebuilding Ole Miss team that just had success in its first year, but can they have it in the second year?
A lot of places have Tennessee at 6 wins. That seems to be the number everywhere for Tennessee. I mean, 6 wins puts them in a bowl game this year without a doubt. I would think the Big Orange hype train would be pretty happy if that were the case. Can they get those 6 wins, though, do you think?
I think they can. I think it depends on the start of their first 3 games, right? Can they – you can't have another Georgia State loss, right, that Jeremy Pruitt had, because you're not going to get to 6 wins that way. But can they beat the teams at the top of their schedule? And then, like I said, can they beat Ole Miss in that type of game? I think that's important. But Josh Heupel has to learn, get this offense revved up. This year is about excitement for Tennessee fans, okay? Is that they've cut the fat of Jeremy Pruitt, of cheating and all the bad things. Don't worry about the sanctions. Those are going to come down. Can Josh Heupel build this program the correct way, do what he does best, which is score points, and then start to worry about the defense? If they can come out and score 30 points a game, Tennessee fans will be happy. And if he can get 6 wins and they can go to a bowl, because if they get 6 wins, Tennessee fans will go to that bowl game. They travel very, very well. We know that. So I think 6 is attainable. I think that would do and go a long way for Josh Heupel in his first year.
Pump your brakes there, Zach. Hold on. They may win 6 games. The bowl game may not happen because of NCAA sanctions.
That's self-imposed too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I guess that's coming down the pipeline. I know it hasn't hit yet, but I bet you that's definitely happened. It's really, is it 1 or 2 years?
Right.
That's going to be the big question mark, because Ole Miss went through that, as we all know, with the Hugh Freeze, as we just talked about. They're going to self-impose this year, probably. You're right, Blaine. Is it going to be 2 years? Is the NCAA on how bad Jeremy Pruitt did the program over the last several years?
All right, final one before I pitch it back to the hitman. Vandy over under 3 wins per William Hill Sportsbook. Surely they can hit the over on that, right? 4 for Clark Lee in year 1.
I like what they've done and changing the whole model. I do like that, because you can't continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. That's insanity. And Vanderbilt football has been insane for quite some time. And I like Derek Mason as a guy. I just thought it was time to change. Vanderbilt brings in Clark Lee. I like Barton Simmons as general manager from 24/7 Sports. I think that was a unique outside-the-box hire. Year 1, though, I wouldn't be surprised if they win 3 games, not 4. So I would not put my chips on that on Vanderbilt, because Vanderbilt, they have to have the players. They have to go get the players, and they will never get players that Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Georgia, and Florida, they will never get those type of players. Tennessee can get those type of players if they fix their program. But Vanderbilt can get players that can play above their means, because they're disciplined, they're well coached, they tackle the ball carrier, they turn over the football, all of those little things. But this is year 1 in the rebuilding mode. So I would not bet my money on 4 wins for Vanderbilt.
Zach Bingham from AtoZ Sports join us. He is at Bada_Bingham. You can follow his Twitter for more of this electricity like we're getting right now.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm looking at the schedule right now, and I see ETSU, maybe Colorado State, Connecticut, and South Carolina. Everybody else, I mean, Stanford, Georgia, Florida, Mississippi State, Missouri, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee. It looks really tough there. But I shall move on. And I want you to broaden your knowledge, because you have all the knowledge there, Zach. And I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the NIL? I mean, everybody's, are they overhyping all what's going on? Or is it just this the beginning? What's your assessment of the first week of the NIL?
Well, I liked what some colleges did. I thought LSU, they did a very good job marketing and kind of building up their players to help it as a recruiting ploy, right? Because the big schools need to utilize their brand to get better players to make money for themselves and help facilitate. This will just turn into a business. And it's opportunity, right? I myself, an entrepreneur, I left the radio business 5 years ago, and Austin and I went out on our own and created our own company. And we were trying to expand that brand. But we made a lot of mistakes. We had a lot of successes during that time. So the first couple of years, I like any small business, just like this NIL, will go through some rocky roads, and you'll have kids make mistakes. I'm curious about the punishments on those mistakes, on how that will affect teams, because we didn't know, right? Quote unquote, we didn't know, because I don't think anybody truly knows. It's the wild, wild west out here. Go get your money. Can you get your money from any type of place? That's a question, right? Can a quarterback, can they endorse seltzers, hard seltzers? Can they, I don't know. Can they endorse Bud Light? Can they endorse vaping? You're going to get into a lot of different, but you have to think about these, because all of these companies are going to go after these young people that are influencers. And I do believe that advertisers find benefit in those, but how will the NCAA still regulate the schools based on these kids going out and getting as many dollars as they possibly can, because they can now, because they haven't been able to?
Heard it first here from Zach Bingham. And I guess one more. This is an NFL question, and that is, give us your verdict on what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh, did you guys watch the match last night?
Some of it.
Yes, we did. I didn't know if you did. I mean, I watched parts of it.
Yeah, I did too. I was back and forth between that and the NBA Finals.
Right.
Man, he wasn't saying much. He's unhappy, right? And unhappy wife, unhappy life. You feel like that. He's also, this is actually my take on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, he's been living in Green Bay for a long time. He sees Tom Brady go to Tampa. He sees Matthew Stafford go to LA. He now has a new fiance. His life has changed. And anytime that happens in a person's life, you want some new scenery. So I think he's going, and he has a lot of power. He doesn't have as much power as NBA All-Stars have. Those have probably the most power. But I do think that he will take this down to the 11th hour. And I think the hard part about the situation, guys, is what does he want? Does he want, I don't really know what he wants. He's not happy with his bosses. He wants out, but he says he's happy with his teammates. He's got a good team. He's got Devontae Adams, top 5 wide receiver in the league.
Yeah.
But he's unhappy. He, I think, has to voice his opinion a little bit better on where he wants to go and target 2 to 3 teams and really put the pressure on the brass of the Green Bay Packers to make a trade. So if he listed 3 teams, those are the 3 teams that I want. The social media will make that happen, I feel like, right? Yeah. But he hasn't done that. So right now he's at a standstill, but I think he'll get to a place where he'll want to leave. And I think that's because his life is changing.
So your verdict is he will be back this season?
No, I think he'll push. I think he'll push to say, I want to go to 3 different teams or whatever the short list is, and we'll force a trade somehow, some way, or he'll sit out. That would be a huge, massive move that we've seen. Ooh. But he's unhappy. And when you're unhappy, you do whatever it takes to get out of that situation, whether it's a relationship or a job. Get me out of there. And I feel like Aaron Rodgers, him not saying much right now, tells me that he's unhappy.
Yeah, his passive-aggressive nature is really.
Yeah, and I hate that. Just say what you mean and mean what you say, Aaron. Tell me what teams you want to go to.
He is hilarious for me. And then he says it so calmly. I'm like, man, come on. Come on, Aaron. All right, man. Well, that's it for me, man. Thanks a lot, man. We appreciate you. Always fun to have you on, Zach.
Zach, great stuff. At Bada_Bingham. That's where you go, or AtoZSportsNashville.com, right? That'll get him there.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Good talking to you.
Yes, sir. AtoZ Sports, Zach Bingham. He's the Z half of AtoZ. When we come back, we shared some of those SEC over-unders. I'll just give them all to you. When we come back, you can find out what your team's over-under is according to William Hill Sportsbook. Some will be happy, some will not. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
From the field to the locker room. With 11 years of NFL experience, Ramon Foster delivers a unique perspective every weekday morning. J. Mart and Ramon, tomorrow morning starting at 6 on 104.5 The Zone.
I've been saying this about my friends at PAI. When it comes to hair loss, ladies and gentlemen, you can do something or you can do nothing. Now, I'll tell you, if you do nothing, here's what's going to happen. More and more of your hair will not be on your head. I can promise you that. If you in the Euro semifinals, and I was watching that game. And so the final penalty kick, some people might get all jacked up and just kick it over the goal or something crazy. This dude totally okey-doked the goalie and was like the thing where it's just like, boop, and it just barely rolls into the net while he's laying on the other side on the ground. That was fantastic.
Yeah, special day for me, special day for my dad. The final is Sunday, and right now England and Denmark are tied 1-1 at half to determine who will play Italy in the final at 2 p.m. But the days and minutes are going to crawl by as I wait for Sunday afternoon.
Who do you want to face? Like who? You need to be like the Vanderbilt lineman who said, "We want Bama."
Oh my!
Oh man, yeah, I remember that like it was yesterday. I'd rather face Denmark, but an England-Italy final just seems so appealing. But I've been dogging England a lot throughout this tournament, saying they're going to choke it away at some point. So I'm going to look really dumb if England wins this thing, especially if they beat Italy in a final. So, but I'm not going to lie, the matchup, the anticipation will be so high between those two countries that haven't won this tournament either ever or since 1968.
As someone who entered the citizenship of the world in 1968, I can personally say that is a long time ago.
Yes.
For anything to have happened. Trust me, I know 1968, and that was a long time ago. Well, let's talk about some SEC odds. I don't know what Lucas's Italian team's odds are, but I actually wrote these down last week and just other things to happen, and we get on to other subjects, but wanted to share these because some of them are not surprising at all. Blaine, William Hill Sportsbook. So we said this to Zach Bingham. The Vols are at 6 wins. Everybody seems to have Tennessee at 6 wins. Everybody. That just seems to be where they are. I guess that's just the greatest way to elicit the most money in both directions. Now, it'll be interesting to see if that line moves up or down as the season gets closer, but 6 wins. So we'll go from there to the top. Alabama, 11.5 wins. Nick Saban and the crew going to pick up right where they left off, 11.5. Georgia, the only other double-digit team, 10.5. So then you think, okay, in the modern SEC 2021, who does Vegas like to? It's Texas A&M, third best odds, and that's losing their quarterback, Kellen Mond. Texas A&M at 9.5. I might have had Florida there. They've got Florida next at 9. The Fighting Ed Orgerons of LSU next at 8.5 wins. It's been a zoo down there with the transfer portal and people coming and going. A lot of people, though, feel like maybe it's all stabilized now. Maybe Ed O and the crew. 8.5. So Ole Miss, we said this to Zach Bingham, who is our favorite Ole Miss alum guest on the show. 7.5 for Lane Kiffin and the boys. They return. We can get into this some tomorrow. Some dude at ESPN looked at every team and their starters and how much returning production they had left. And Ole Miss has the most returning offensive production of any team in the SEC. 7.5 wins is what that'll get you if you're Ole Miss.
Well, you got to have a defense too, though.
Yes, you do. But here's the thing. The template to me for Josh Heupel is Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Score so many points and just be so exciting on offense that people don't even notice that you're also giving up a lot of points. Right. Just keep them entertained. Like a shell game. You just keep moving them around. Missouri at 7, which that'd be Eli Drinkowitz. They won 5 last year. 2-game improvement. Kentucky at 7. So a game more than Tennessee. And I know Lucas and Tennessee Vol supporters hate to hear that, but Vegas has Kentucky at 7, Tennessee at 6. Auburn with 7 wins. I can tell you this. I know people around Auburn, 7 wins is not going to make anybody happy. And my friend Brian Harsin, who's the coach down there.
That's his first year, though.
Oh, I know. So he's 7, get to the bowl game and win 8. Maybe that'd make people happy. Here's an interesting number to me. Mississippi State at 6. We saw them come out of the gate roaring and then stumble from there. Mississippi State at 6 wins, the same number as Tennessee.
Ooh.
All right, wrapping it up with this.
Bell, ding, 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 ding.
I know. They'd be dinging and linging a lot, though, to get to 6 wins. All right, Arkansas at 5.5. Can they keep this upward trajectory? South Carolina at only 3.5. And Vandy at number 3. Your SEC win totals. courtesy of William Hill Sportsbook. If you heard your team's total, you like the over-under, hit us on Twitter at Blaine and Mickey. Let us know what you think about that. But right now, it's time for us to go, man. This 2 hours is already up. Time to hand things over to 3HL.
As always, happy Wednesday. Peace.
See.
Need a Titans fix? Bam! Just ask Alexa to play 104.5 The Zone, your home for Titans football and the flagship for Titans radio. 104.5